If you're watching the replay or tuning in to the podcast, well, we're so glad you've been able to do that. Now go ahead and grab your cafecito like I am, because this is going to be a good one. And let's get started. Let me introduce my guests, and I'm excited about the panel that we have today. So Debra Fortin is the director of operations for Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Myrtle Beach Real Estate. Debra brings more than 30 years of experience to the industry, and she leads with professionalism, consistency, and a deep commitment to excellence. And I can't believe I waffled with Home Services. That's the company that we all work with. Whitney Leonard, president of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Carolina Premier Properties. Whitney is a dynamic leader known for her energy, innovation, and also navigating her ability to grow and inspire and navigating an ever evolving real estate landscape, which again, we'll talk a little bit about today. And then also Pam O'Rorke. And Pam is the broker owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Oklahoma Realty. Wait, that's incorrect.
It's
Um, that's right. Pam is an accomplished leader whose steady guidance, strong market presence, and dedication to developing agents have built a high-performing company and made a lasting impact in her market. So thank you all for being here today. And I really always want to know, my question that I ask all of our leaders is, tell me a little bit about how you got started in the industry, also a little bit about your market, your company, where you are, and then how did you transition into the role that you're in today? And I'm going to start with you, Pam.
okay. So I had been working in the banking industry for several years and was decided to be a stay-at-home mom for a few years and was sitting at baseball practice with one of my boys and one of the ladies there, we were just talking about what I would do if I got back, if when I went back into the workforce. And she said, well, my mom owns a real estate company. You should go talk to her. And I'm like, okay, I'd never really considered that. I love banking, to be honest. So anyway, I went and spoke to her and she said, you would do great at this, come be part of our company, be part of our team. And then within a year, she asked me to get my broker's license. And then they had a family health emergency that took her out of the office for about 9 months. And I'd been there about 3 or 4 years. And she handed me the keys and the checkbook and said, you're it, tag, I'm out. And so literally, I became a broker for her overnight because of the crisis that came on. And so I, I bought that company from her in 2001. We had an opportunity to buy the Prudential office in 2014. We've got 30 or 25 agents now. I'm down to 25 now, but a select group, and I'm pretty protective of the culture we have here. So pretty selective on who we allow to come.
I
Yeah.
love that. And the fact that you decided right away to get your broker's license, for those who don't know the steps, in many markets and many states across, it's different. But for most markets, is that you become a real estate agent first, sell real estate, and depending on where you are, then you're able to apply for a broker's license, which is the position that Pam is talking about, and decided to lead that company at the time that she was needed. I think there was a plan for you all along, Pam, and your owner saw it from the very beginning. Whitney, how about you?
So, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for having me. So, I am in the southeastern North Carolina market. So, I started out as an individual agent, and my story as how I ended up in leadership is I walked into the owner of our company's office, Jeff Sawyer, and on the whiteboard in his office was my name and a couple of other names. And I inquired about why my name was on his board. And he started talking to me about growing the company and having the need to add additional leadership. It wasn't something I was looking for, but it was the path that I started on pretty quickly. As I got started in my career, I had graduated college. I'd sold for him for a brief time, and then I started leading. And the rest for me is history. So it's been over 20 years. It's been a great relationship and a great organization to be part of. So we are 6 offices and we cover a military market, a heavy vacation, second home area, as well as primary. So we have a little bit of it all on the coast, and 6 offices and 230 agents.
Wonderful. And big shout out to Jeff because I know he's watching today and we really appreciate his support and the fact that he found you and had identified that as well. Sometimes, you're picked before you think you're even ready or it's even a career path for you. So
Right.
again, Whitney, welcome. We're excited you're here as well. And then Deborah, you have an interesting also story about how you got into real estate and then how you transitioned over to Myrtle Beach, which I love.
Well, I got into real estate many moons ago. My kids went into school, and I had worked for the corporate America, stayed home to be a mom for a little while. And then when they went into school age, I thought, let me see what this is about. I had a friend who made it look real easy. And so I started being a relocation specialist and worked really hard. And I had my system down. They would come in for a few days. I would have them pre-qualified with my mortgage. And on the third day, they went home under contract and I just rolled them right through. And a VP actually recommended that I get into leadership and talk to my leader at the time. And they set me up. I had started with an office in Connecticut and through two offices. And 18 years later, I decided to let that retire and move to Myrtle Beach to be closer to my parents who live down here. And when I got here, I wanted to kind of take back a step and go back and sell again so that I would have more space and time. And my owners of my company, Berkshire Hathaway Myrtle Beach Real Estate, saw that I had a little bit more background from BHHS from my company in Connecticut, and they invited me into their leadership with them and to help them grow this business. We are 35 agents now. We'd like to have more agents. We're 35 right now. We are recruiting heavily, and we have a wonderful office. We have a lot of fun together. Last night we went to the opening day of baseball here locally, and
Oh,
it
how
was a lot
fun.
of fun. So yeah, we enjoy it, and I love what I do every day. I've loved it every day. It's been a passion of mine. It still continues to be.
You can see that when you're talking about the role that you have, Deborah, and I'm so excited because you also came from a company that is such well led with Candace Adams and Brenda now mayor that when you moved
Yes.
out to your area that
Yeah.
I think they saw the opportunity and just your owner said we got to seize it. One of the things that I like to learn because a lot of people see your role and they think that it was easy for you, right? And this is a tough to be in leadership is a tough role to be in, and even in real estate, right? So, was there a time in your career where you were tested in a way that really changed you, and also changed maybe the way you led or the way that you talk to people? Because that's something that I know a lot of people don't realize the agony that this business has and ups and downs also of the business as well. Anyone that wants to answer this question, just
Well,
let
we're
me know.
the calm one in the storm. When our agents come in the office in uneasy times, we're the one that has to possess the calm for them. We ride the waves without letting them know how we're feeling, and we keep the momentum for them going forward. The biggest challenge, I think, is that so many things happen out there and they hear all the things that are going on, and then they come in and say, well, what about this and what about this? And you have to be able to deliver that message to them so that they know everything's going to be okay. We've gone through changes. We've gone through so many changes in this business in the years, and helping our agents to navigate that is where we shine. It's not about being liked for a leader, it's about being trusted. And when they know that they can count on you, I think that's the most important thing. I've had many pivots in my career, from early being an agent to making mistakes and learning how the leaders that had me taught me to correct those. And I work with my agents when that happens to make sure that they know how to move forward and what the lesson is that they learned, and hopefully become better because of it. And that's our job.
I love that. I love that. Anyone else?
So during COVID, that was a challenging time for all of us.
Mhm.
So I took the opportunity for that. I had an opportunity to take a 13-week leadership course. And my husband said, why would you take a leadership course? My word, you've been doing this for a million years. But I really learned something, and it wasn't real estate related. It was just general business leadership. And I learned some things through that to help me navigate them. I think that's the thing that I try to really hammer home to my group is that don't think you've ever learned it, because just like Deborah said, it's going to change. number one. And number two, you can never take enough classes or learn enough new things or learn
That's
different
right.
ways to do things. So anyway, that was probably, COVID was probably one of our most difficult things to navigate here, but we got through it.
We did. And in a lot of markets, it was not, you couldn't show homes. In a lot of markets, you could. So it was all, different across the entire landscape. And I love that you took a course on something that was totally, in a different field, because I think that's when we learn the most. It's
Yeah.
when it's not in our field and you're like, okay, this is different, but wow, I can certainly apply these principles to what I'm doing in this space. And I also know that today, more than ever, that's what our agents are doing because our industry is changing. So, really, I love that advice. Take a course, keep learning, because that's how you expand your skill sets and that's how you're able to serve your clients better. The question that I always love to know is because I know that for me personally, there were people along the way that actually believed in me before I actually believed in myself. And I didn't, grasp it until I'm looking back, right? Wow, this is something they said to me that really impacted me and that put me in the trajectory of the course of where I am today. So, who was that for you? Um, Let me know, Deborah.
I had a lot of people in my corner before I knew I was meant for my role. My family, my support, my peers as I started to develop in my career. Early on, I got my broker's license. As soon as I got my real estate license, I began my GRI classes. And I had a mentor, and I followed her everywhere for my first year. I started with a smaller agency in the community I lived in. She mentored me, and I went everywhere with her, every closing, every showing, every open house. She passed about a year into my business,
Oh,
and I continued her trajectory, and I keep her with me in spirit today, and she still teaches me how to do my business. Always lead with integrity, always be the most professional, and never stop learning. And that's so important in our career. It's important for all of our agents. I just had an agent a little bit ago email me and say, hey, what about these certifications? What do you think? And I said, well, they're certifications, not designations, and designations can give you an opportunity for referrals. So I would recommend you look at NAR, take these designations, and see where it leads you.
beautiful. Who is the name? Can you share the name of the individual that
That asset was Sean Martin.
Sean Martin? Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. It's
Called
always great
Sean.
to, yeah. And what a beautiful way to pay tribute to that individual. So thank you for sharing that. How about you, Whitney?
So for me, I have referenced that Jeff saw in me something that I hadn't seen in myself, and he has been my mentor throughout my career, as he has been for many of the agents in our company. From my perspective, when I think back on, who's believed in me and been that cheerleader, like so many of us, it's our partner, our spouse, and for me, it's been my husband. And so I am in the camp of people that believe that who you choose to marry and align yourself with really will change that trajectory of your success and your happiness. And so for me, it's been 34 years with my husband, and he believed in me before I probably believed in myself.
I love that. That's beautiful. Pam?
Yeah, so I would say two people. One was the lady who hired me at first and said I would be good at doing that. Her name was Norma McKitty. She worked for us after we bought the company. She worked for us till she was 89. Her
Mm.
goal was to work till she was 90, and she passed away when she was 89 after working all day. So she
Wow.
showed me a lot of not just knowledge about real estate, but a lot of life lessons. But my husband really encouraged me when we were trying to determine if we wanted to buy the second office because that was a big step for us. You go in debt, you take on 30 new agents. And I was concerned that we would buy the office and we would maybe lose part of that group, which it was a great group. We didn't lose a one. They all stayed with me. So, but I was a little hesitant about do I have the ability to lead them where they want to be? And he really stood behind me, just like Whitney said. So
Wonderful. And I think it's really important to talk about those people that really help us and shape us because mentorship is so important for so many people. And so I always talk about it because I think it's important for you to find someone that and really don't ask them to mentor you, but really follow them because A lot of times it's hard for people that are very busy to take the time to mentor, but if you see what they're doing and if you find someone that you know is an incredible leader, that's the best way to kind of learn from them is to really study them, follow them. And if you have a chance, let them know, what can I do for you? Can I do for you to help your business? Because that's how it's gets started. So let's talk about what people really don't say out loud. And that's the hard truth about making sure that we are good leaders and the hard truth of what people don't understand that's required to be able to do a great job with different personalities. And we all know that in this real estate business, we have a lot of type A personalities. We have a lot of different personalities across the board. How are you able to manage those individuals? And what's the hard truth about leading such a wide variety of different individuals and personalities and outcomes? And then again, this is for, I'll start with you, Pam.
Okay, so yesterday we had our awards breakfast. We presented awards to everybody that, for last year. And I was bragging on them at how well they support each other and how we were talking about differences and how they share their strengths. And when others have a weakness, someone else will step in and help, not just me, but others. And I was bragging on them about that. And I said, you guys do such an amazing job of supporting each other and sharing information that will help them in their business. And one of the agents said, that's because we learn it from the top. So that meant a ton to me. It got a little emotional yesterday at the awards breakfast. I'll just say it was a little emotional. But I think the way we navigate the changes is because we're like family. And they know if I'm going to call you in and correct you on something, it's for your benefit, not for me to be bossy or in charge. So
That's
that's
beautiful. And it starts at the top, right?
that's what she said.
People mirror what they see. So, Whitney, how about you?
So one of the big hard truths is that we're always on. We get our energy up, we're smiling. It's like the ladies were saying earlier, right? It's that we're always on and no matter what's happening behind the scenes. So whether it's back in the experience of the pandemic or the Great Recession, I think back on those times, we've had and seen some very challenging times. And frankly, regardless of whether the market is good or bad, so whether there's plenty of inventory or no inventory, interest rates are high, they're low. We always have to be figuring ways to encourage and motivating and training and coaching our group to, one, navigate through it, right, from a strategy perspective, but then to always be positive, to always be encouraging and motivation, inspiration pouring out of us. And so what I think is we see ourselves pouring out and not as much, being poured into ourselves. It was like Pam was saying with the awards, it's we're recognizing the agents, we're pouring awards onto them. And so I think that it does take a unique person to really want to get their joy and their reward from helping others and seeing others grow and being successful in achieving their goals. And so it's really on, so to speak, and that
You have to be a
positivity
cheerleader, even when it's tough for you. Like,
always.
even when you're personally experiencing some difficulties in your life, you still have to show up and be positive and help others through their scenarios because you are the ones they look up to. So, oh, that's so authentic. Thank you for sharing that, Whitney. How about you, Deborah?
Well, the ladies have spoken so eloquently, and we've all experienced similar situations. It is about lifting up the team. And when the team is operating at its best capacity and everybody's helping each other, you're doing your job correctly. And that's one of the most important things for me. It gives me pleasure to see our team working together, thriving, helping one another, growing, especially when we do community events, whether it's beach cleanup or we're picking up the garbage or we're at the baseball game. When we're doing things together, even going to Nashville, we had 15 in Nashville for convention, and we do everything together as a family when we're there. And it is the camaraderie. It just lifts everybody up.
When you do those trips, I think that's the best thing we do on convention is how warm and fuzzy everything is because you're together. And
Mhm.
sometimes you don't have the time to spend with individuals on one, but when you get away, you're able to do that because you're somewhat away from your business, right? And that really forms that bond. So thank you for mentioning that, Deborah, but I
Mhm.
could not agree with you more. What
Mhm.
is one decision that all of you made that you realize, wow, doing this really changed where I was headed? And Whitney, for you, I'm going to start with you. What gave you the courage to say, yes, I'm going to go ahead and pursue leadership? But what was it that you did that you even, you know, that changed where you were headed, and then to become president of your company? That, I mean, there's one step at a time, right? So what was that decision, that one decision that changed you?
So, when I really think about that as a drill down on that question, the one decision was the companies that I chose to call. So we all pour time into recruiting and recruiting agents. So I was coming into this community and I wasn't on anyone's radar and didn't know people. And so I called the company that I work for, and then I called a couple of other organizations. And for me, choosing this organization and the strength that I saw within it in terms of being able to have future opportunity, as well as the training and the coaching and the mentoring and guidance that the company offered, it was the one thing that led me on this path. And when I think now about the other ways and paths that I could have gone, I can't, it changed my life coming here because I was an agent, then I managed two of our different offices for many years as their brokers in charge, and then transitioned into this role as president. And I, I can't imagine any other job. It's like we were saying before, we love what we do. We're so fortunate to be able to get up and come to work every day. I think about that. I'm fortunate to be able to do this. It's not that I have to do it, it's that I'm able to do this. And so I'm just so grateful to be in this role and love it.
And the brand that you're with, as well as
Yeah.
picking that. I think that's what a lot of
Great.
agents and individuals don't always think about. They think about the financial. I always would tell my children, I said, don't just look at the money, because the money will come. If this company's offering you this and this one, but you've got better opportunities here in the long run, yeah, maybe it's, $10 less, but think about it. Think about the opportunity. So I think you made the right choice, Whitney. How about you, Pam?
Well, so the board asked the Shawnee Board of Realtors, the board that I'm involved in, asked me to get my instructor license. They were really short of teachers to teach continuing ed classes. And I was very busy and I didn't want to do it. And they kind of persuaded me that that was a good thing to do. So because of that, because of teaching classes and having exposure to all of the agents in our community, when the lady that owned this office that we have here, the Berkshire Hathaway office, that was the Prudential office, she was retiring and she told them she was retiring. And so their agents came to me at my first office and said, we want you. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. So, um, but I thought that was, looking back, I think I prayed a lot about it before I made that decision, but I think that was an opportunity that I had to teach, to be exposed on a bigger level to some of the other agents here. So it wound up being an amazing thing. And seriously, I've been led in places I never thought I would be able to go or do. So it's
That's
wonderful.
awesome. That's really awesome, that also, because it does give you exposure to so many new people and opportunities of teaching. And that's part of what we do every day. That's how our agents get better. I love that, Deborah. How about you?
So I started, as I said, education was really big for me, and I joined the committees at the local board offices and wanted to volunteer. And the committees I chose because of who I am as a person, I chose professional standards and grievance. And then I was board of directors for our local association, and then I was board of directors for our state association, and then I chaired grievance hearings, and then I went into professional standards certification on the state level. And all of those things helped me along the way, but it also helped me to define that the company that I chose to affiliate with was the right company because of the reputation and the backing, and those things were very important to us. And having found that in Connecticut and having found that here in Myrtle Beach with Marvin and Nigel as our owners here, it's an alignment that's just been perfect my entire career. and I've been
Well,
very blessed.
that is a tough role to have. That would be my nightmare role because I think that would be so difficult to even maneuver and manage. And that
I
says so
loved it.
much about you, Deborah, about your
I loved it.
personality and how you think and how you are. So again, that is amazing that you all have aligned yourselves with companies that really help that you feel that it's part of your culture, right? It's part of who you are, which is another question that I'm going to pivot to what's about culture, because a lot of times it's really difficult to create a culture that you feel everyone is comfortable with. So what is it that most people misunderstand that, about building a culture where agents, as well as teams, as well as employees, as well as leaders can truly thrive in? Because again, I have gone into offices and, with my role, I visit offices all over the country, and one office is so different from another, but
Mhm.
they are all great. You know what I mean? It's just a different vibe or a different way of doing business. Or so, what is it that's important that's misunderstood? And I'll start with you, Whitney.
There are two things in particular for me that I keep top of mind, Teresa. One is to always be thinking about creating an environment and a culture that people are drawn to. So, what are we offering that people will want to be part of, whether it's agents or staff? What are they drawn to? So, it's this mindset of attraction and really being very clear on what our culture is and what type of environment we want to create. And so having that mindset of attraction. And then the second piece is for all of us in any company, realizing that not everybody is a match.
Right.
And that bringing in the wrong person can change your culture in such a negative way, right? So, or bringing in the right people can change it in such a positive way. And so, recognizing that there may be some great people out there, but maybe they're not a fit for what our values are, what our strategy is, what we're trying to do. And so, really being selective with who we bring in and being as protective as we possibly can be of that culture and environment.
That is so critical and such a great point, because not every person is a match with you. Because, I mean, again, it is so true. Somebody could be such a great person in business, but not necessarily
Right.
in the culture that you're in.
A great
Um,
human, but not a fit for our
yes,
culture. Yep.
yes, yeah. A great point. Anyone else that wants to join or let me know what they think is also important or a misunderstanding about cultures?
Culture is about the everyday moments in the office too. It's about the little things that people take for granted, but it speaks to who you are as a company. And it's not always fun to make tough decisions for people, but when they understand where you're coming from and what the culture is of identity in the office and how everybody, our job is the greater good, and it's always the greater good. And it's not individual always. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, and it's just being able to recognize that. But it's when they walk in the door and they feel at home.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Perfect. Well, one of the things that we also talk about is how our markets are shifting and how our agents are evolving. And so with that also the what they expect from us is also can be a challenge. So what is the biggest challenge shaping what you're deciding to do or how you're deciding to lead right now? Pam, I'll start with you.
I don't know that it's a big challenge. We just try to kind of meet them where they are. So, like the customers have different needs, the agents have different needs. And if they need a lot of attention, and maybe not all the time, but I try to give them what they need and try to get to be with for them to support them, but also to guide them a little bit on if they don't realize what they need sometimes. But um, I think it's the challenge is we do have a building. I was encouraged to downsize during COVID. We did not do that. So most of my agents come in every day. Almost all of them are in here and out some point during the day. So we have a really tight group that way, but I like to be in contact with them. And if we're not, then we reach out to them and do that. I think offices that don't have that contact. I could not operate like that because that would be difficult for me. I don't know how they keep connected to them, I guess is the main thing. And I see that with, I thought during COVID we would lose some of that, but they have turned back around and started coming in more and being here more at the office. So
Oh, that's really interesting. And
yeah.
I know that's what Vince Lacey talks about a lot because it's important to have people in the office where they're internet, connecting, they're being able to kind of master, plan and work with other agents and learn from them. Anyone else?
I think this is the dynamic that changes between a relationship business and a transactional business.
Mhm.
When you know your agents that are on your team and you know what their trials and tribulations are outside of what their professional image is, you're able to know when you aren't hearing from somebody that you need to reach out. You need to see that they're okay. In a different kind of market, and I can't ever imagine being in that kind of a market because relationships are so important to the future of our business. When we know what's going on, we contact our agents if we don't hear from them. But it's about being able to hear all the noise out there and not let it affect us, but keep it inside and then handle it in an individual basis as needed with your team. And I think that's really important.
It's so important because it is. I love that you said that because our agents also are people and they experience highs, lows, family issues,
Mhm.
upsets, college graduations, happiness, babies, and having, when you know that, and I've had friends that have left our brand and have returned because they said, we didn't get that. It
Right.
was like, we're in it, we're a number and not a person,
But
not
it's helping them
someone.
to move forward through that. And
Yes,
sometimes in their darkest moments out there, what they can do best is get back to work.
yes, yes. Whitney, how about you? Do you want to add anything?
I think just talking about shifting markets and changing markets from a leadership perspective, I think it's our responsibility to have a good pulse on, as Pam was saying, meeting where they are. And so for us too, it's really having an understanding of what they're experiencing and then what challenges they're facing so that we can help give them good strategy and guidance on how to navigate through it. And again, there's always different cycles, there's always different challenges in real estate. And so really us being on top of the best we can, the forward thinking of looking ahead for the rest of the year and the year ahead of what we would expect to see to be able to educate our team.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the things too that I think is when we have people, even employees or on our team that we know can do better, or they're not reaching their capacity or what they are able to achieve, how do you talk to that individual? What do you say to them? How do you motivate them to really go all in or all out? Because I know that there have been situations where someone's not performing to their highest level. Tish Herdwig, who was on the show before, talked about how when she got started in real estate, she won a sessions with Mike Ferry. Like she was brand new in real estate. He never really coached anyone that was new before. Y'all know Mike Ferry. He's been around for a long time. Everyone he ever coached was an experienced agent. But she ended up putting her name in the drawing, and he, unbeknownst to when he pulled her name, didn't realize she was brand new. But he says, you know what? I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove that even a brand new agent can actually make, close 50 deals in a year. And she didn't know any better. So she did what he said. And she actually closed 70 deals her first year. And so, you
Wow.
know what I mean? Like, it was, but but and her boss, her broker owner encouraged her. No, you can do this. Even not knowing real estate, that proved that those, that cheerleading or that capability. I know you can do it. She didn't know she could do it, and Mike did. So how do you do that? How do you work with agents or employees that can do better? And this is for anyone who wants to answer that question.
I'll listen to the other. I'm not good at this, to be real honest. If I have a weakness, which Lynn Nestor used to say, Pam, what's your weakness? And I work on this, but I really, probably this is it. But I'm willing to help. I usually take the approach of what tools am I not providing or what knowledge am I not providing to get you where I think you can be. So I tend to be a little more passive aggressive, I guess, with those conversations. So I'm really not probably the best voice to that one.
Thank you for your honesty, because that is sometimes a difficult situation for us to even approach someone and say, you can do better.
Yeah.
A relationship for me, it's having a relationship with the individual. So whether it's an agent or a staff member, and really having a relationship, a partnership with that person, and knowing them and knowing whether there's someone who wants a carrot and reward and love them up, or do they need a stick and hold them accountable? And, it really is such an individual thing to be able to coach and encourage someone up, or encourage someone to achieve more along the way. And so for me, it's the relationship piece of it, and wanting to help them be their very best self.
Beautiful. I know that with our children, I always look at how each of them is different in the way that you would reward or punish them, because like my son, he would punish himself so much that by the time I found out what he did, or it was like, oh my God, I can't punish him anymore. He's already suffered, right? Whereas my daughter was different, right? Every person is so different as to how they want to be led, or what pushes their buttons, or how they can actually really get be the best that they can be. So I love those answers. So I'm going to go more individually, because I really want to learn about each of you. And Deborah, I'm going to start with you, because you've spent more than 30 years in our industry. And now when you decided to move to Myrtle Beach, you were really thinking of just being a real estate agent, right?
I
And
really
slowing
was.
down. But what actually drew you back in, and what do you love about what you're doing? So, because that's a tough thing, you're like, all right, I've been in leadership, I've been in, with another company, and I'm just going to take it easy. And now you're doing this.
I actually took the opinion that said I'm going to be like my agents and just go and sell houses and bring questions to my broker, and I'm going to take it easy, and thought that would be a quiet time of my life. And when I came here, I was here for about 2 weeks, and Marvin and Nigel said, let's go have lunch. And they said, we really feel like there's more to you that meets the eye. And I was aligned really well with the Berkshire brand. And being from a corporate office, you follow a lot of the Berkshire backgrounds and the technologies, and I had built offices for my team. So I'd run 2 offices successfully financially. And it just was a natural for me. They said, what would you like to do? And do you want to work? And come help us to grow the business. And I said, absolutely, I'd love to. And I started off feeling they don't know me from Adam. I've got to show them. I came from a corporate store. They're a franchisee. I found the change refreshing. To be able to bring ideas to the plate that I don't have to go have a corporate answer to. I just have 2 owners and go bring them my ideas. And I brought them some wild ideas over the years, will say. And they're always, always ready and willing to say, if you think it's going to make us better and improve us, then let's do it. And I'm also the person who cuts back on things too. So I'm the one who says, I don't think we need that part of our component anymore. But with my agents, what I love about this role is I started off just resources for them. Hey, if you have a question, I'm here to answer it. And then it's just developed into where my role is today. And it evolves constantly. And I love that it evolves. And I'm still enjoying it every single day. And like Whitney said, I get to get up and come to work every day. I don't have to, I get to. And I
That's
really
so
do love
beautiful. It really is, Deborah. Number one, that you had that corporate background, because a lot of times there are things that we are kind of exposed to a little bit more, and it's easier for us to do because we have people that are able to do other areas. Whereas with a franchise, they're doing everything. The network leaders are involved with the leadership, they're involved with the everyday
it.
decisions, they're involved with the agent training. So a lot of times they can't really go in and learn all the tools as you did. And then coming from that into a smaller company where the decisions are easy, I think that's amazing. I love that.
But
And
there's
I
so
love that
many
you,
tools that we have, so many
yes.
tools that every agent is different, and helping the agent's personality to align with the tools that best meet them is what I really love, because there's so many, I can match them just like our agents match houses and homes to their people.
It's
I can match
beautiful.
those tools to my team.
I don't even know all the tools we have. There are so many. So again, I think that's a great asset that you've been able to bring to this company, and also your role too. I was in Relo, so that background too helps quite a bit as well.
Absolutely.
So Pam, I know that you also had the opportunity to kind of have some incredible women leaders that that kind of showed you the business and help you with that. So tell me a little bit, what is one advice or lesson from them that still guides you and guides how you do things today?
So the lady that hired me and then I bought the company from, she was very adamant about knowing the why. So I worry a little bit about that with agents today that are disconnected and just use programs. They don't understand really, they couldn't take it from ground one. So I started with one-page sales contracts with a typewriter. I mean, no, we started with no, even a fax machine, I guess, and no pagers, none of that. So I worry a little, so I try to teach them the why they have to do it this way. What this is why it's important to do that. And she was very adamant about knowing what the process was and knowing how we get to where we are and to do it correctly and to do it with integrity. And so that kind of has just held over in all aspects of my life, I guess. I probably am too detail oriented sometimes, but um, I think it's important they understand what they're doing and not just filling in the blanks, I guess.
That is, I think it's such a great learning lesson because when you know the why, the how becomes really easy.
Yeah.
And so it just learned why. Why do we have to do that? And I think it makes everyone so much better. And I know God, your company's got to be so well run, Pam, because of all the experience that you're leading them through. Whitney, I know that you've been in the role of president for some time now, but how's your leadership evolved over the years, and what continues to challenge and stretch you?
So deeply personal. I kind of hear that question as, okay, so what could you do better or do more of or improve? And as I said, deeply personal for me is my instinct in life is to be a pleaser. I want to fix things. I want to make everybody happy. I want everything to go well. And so for me, it's keeping top of mind that everything isn't always going to go perfectly, or I'm not always going to be able to please everyone. And so making the best decision possible for the greater good and the entire organization and entire company versus, you can get in the weeds a little bit. And so for me, that's something that each and every day, each week, always keeping top of mind is the big picture versus being down in the weeds and knowing that I can't please everyone.
That's so well said because that is gotta be such a challenge when you are a people pleaser. I'm the same way, and it's so hard. So one thing I want to know from all of you is, all that you do, you're involved with your local boards, you're involved with your agents, but what is the one thing that you want to be known for when you leave, like the business, and what kind of impact do you hope to leave behind? And I'll start with you, Deborah.
Well, I hope like my fifth grade teacher who taught me just to keep going and keep doing it. I hope I leave my agents something that one day they go, that Deb taught me that. I hope that they know that I always had fairness and integrity and honesty and that I did the best that I could for them, but that they have like that aha moment.
Beautiful. Pam?
I'd like for them to be better agents and not just my group. I like to promote our industry, make our industry better, make our people that attend my classes better. I hope that they can look back and go, I remember, like Deborah said, Pam said this, and here's why I'm a better agent because of that. So that's
Nice, nice. You are with that legacy of teaching is really, oh, I always say teachers are the best. For me, my elementary, middle, high school, God, they really shaped who I am today. So you're
Mhm.
shaping those agents' minds to be able to really do the business the right way. And then Whitney, how about you?
Same as Deborah and Pam. I certainly hope that along the way there are agents that look up and said, Whitney helped make my career better, or Whitney taught me this, or Whitney was able to help make me love my job more or be more successful. And frankly, too, that I was able to help to create a great environment and culture for our team to work in. I mean, so many of us are, awake and in our offices more than we're even in our homes throughout the week, right? So we spend so
Amen.
much time at work and so much time together. I hope that I leave a legacy of I made it a better place.
Oh, that's also beautiful. I can't believe we're out of time. Can y'all? It's like so the one question I always like to know is, it's important we leave our audiences with something that really resonates with you, whether it's a quote that you live by, a book that you read that you felt like, wow, everyone's got to read this book. I keep it by my bedside because I read a chapter every night and revisit it, or a podcast that you think, this podcast is really good. It may be out of our business or whatever, but it's something somebody needs to listen to because it really has motivated me. So I'll start with you, Brenda, because you're on my list here on the screen.
Do you mean Deborah?
Yeah, who did I say?
Brenda?
Oh, Deborah. I don't know why I said Brenda. Deborah. I'm
That's
losing it.
okay. Just call me. I'll answer.
Yes.
Over the years, there's been a lot of different voices of real estate. There's, like you mentioned, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Brian Buffini. I've listened to them all. Brian Buffini was one of my favorites over the years, and I've listened to his podcasts, and I was a mentor for his company under our leadership at corporate in Connecticut, and I really enjoyed it. And I believe in just learning everything that you can and giving it back. But for me, it's just about being for the greater good, always being authentic with whatever it is that I'm teaching and doing for my team and for my company. So I just want to be known as always being authentic.
Do you believe that? Because I always talk about coaching and how important it is to also have someone that can help you, whether it's accountability or motivate you. And obviously, Buffini was somebody that did that for you. Right. And I agree. You just have to do that when you're in this business, whether it's inside the business or outside the business. Thanks, Deborah. How about you, Pam?
So that 13-week leadership class I took during COVID, one of the books they required us to read was called The Power of TED, T-E-D. And so it would be good for you, Whitney, because it talks about being a fixer. And I recognized it when you said that because that's what I was pretty bad. So it talks, yeah. So you have the victim and the antagonizer and the fixer, and it talks about that. It's a real short little book. So, but it talks about that and really how fixing things is not what they need. They need us to lift them up and kind of lead them and be the teacher and instructor. So it spoke hard to me during COVID. It really did. So
It's
I
called
like
The Power of TED,
The
TED.
Power of Ted. It's a paperback when I got it. I don't know, but it's a little bitty book. It's not huge. So,
I like those kind of books that I can
yeah.
read easily and quickly. Thank you for that recommendation. And then we'll round out with you, Whitney.
So I have a little book as well to share, and then also from a quote or just top of mind thought throughout my career. And I feel like I say this to the agents all the time, to really think about the two things that you can control, which is your attitude and your actions. Can't control the market, can't control our buyers and sellers, controlling our attitude and our actions. So always keeping that top of mind. And then the small book is The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And so it is on YouTube if you want to listen to the audio of it for it's not very long at all, or it's a small little book, but it has been something that I have carried through my career and would recommend for others.
And it's called The Strangest Secret.
The Strangest Secret, Earl Nightingale. And so it's kind of the pre-secret. It's we become what we think. It's, success isn't driven by chance, but it's intentional.
I know someone that Gino before used to follow a lot. So again, I will definitely include that in my reading list. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. It's been such a powerful conversation. And what stands out to me is about y'all is that leadership is not just about the results. It's about the people, the consistency, and showing up even when things are challenging. I think that's really important. Deborah, I really appreciate everything you said about what you do, how you got into business. Pam, I loved your advice that you gave. And then Whitney, I also love all of the leadership lessons that you shared with us, your authenticity, and for sharing. Appreciate all of you, your journey. With us, I really appreciate it. And to everyone who joined us, thank you so much for being part of this community. If this conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who needs to hear it. There's so many people that need to hear what all these individual women have provided us today, these golden nuggets. Before we close, I'd love for you to join us for our next Diversity Matters episode. It's going to air on the 22nd of April at 1 p.m. And we're going to be welcoming Jacqueline Ruiz, who is the author, speaker, and a pilot, for another inspiring conversation. And then back here on the 13th of May, we'll have another episode of Women Who Lead. And Deborah, it's going to be on relocation directors and the role that they play within their companies. So I know that you'll enjoy that, having that background as well. And as always, until then, all of you keep building, keep leading, and keep creating the kind of impact that lasts, because your voice really matters, your leadership matters, and also the work you're doing matters more than you know. Thank you again. I'm Teresa Palacios Smith, and this has been Women Who Lead. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.